Grace and peace to you, saints of the Most High. This is Apostle Michael Davis, Jr., the senior pastor and overseer of New Testament Believers Fellowship Church. I come to talk to you on this Thanksgiving Day. First off, being thankful, having a loving family, a wife who's given me 7 wonderful children, having my parents still around, my brothers and my sisters, love all of them. But what I wanted to talk to you all about today, well, this is the second video of why men are not approaching women now in the church. And I'm talking about as far as approaching women for marriage. Well, the first thing, just to recap on my other video that I had a few days ago, the first thing, men are not approaching women for marriage because they think that marriage nowadays is a bad deal because of how the court systems are set up, that a woman can say anything and a man will get his shirt taken and everything else. In other words, basically everything that the man has worked hard for, the woman will get half or more of it if he gets married to her. But first off, men, if you're looking at a woman to be married, you know, and she shows the signs of always being argumentative, giving those signs, shame, insults, guilt, and need to be right, and is very combative, drop her. Leave her alone. Don't even entertain. Let her rattle off at the mouth. Just leave. You know, don't try to put your hands on her. And then if she does try to put her hands on you, record and keep record of that every time that they go crazy. Because we looked at an incident that happened with that rapper, DaBaby, when he put his girlfriend out of his house. But what prompted him to do that, she put her hands on him. And he recorded the whole thing live on Instagram. And then he called the police. And then when it all came said and done, some people tried to say that there was no crime committed, but she assaulted the man. He didn't put his hands on her. He held down the frame and did not react to her, but just started posting online and said, hey, you know, she's doing this, that, and the other. And I could assume, but there might have been a reason why it came to that. The woman could have been cheating on him. He probably found her phone, and that's mostly how stuff happens. They find the phone, find some profile on social media, conversations back and forth between the person that they're cheating with, and possibly that man may have found that and said, hey, you know, you're not my main girl no more. You a side chick, so you gotta go. And you know, then the waterworks come and the cussing and all of that other stuff, and she put her hands on him, and he says, you gotta go. Call the police. And he recorded the whole thing. Men aren't approaching women also because for fear of being lied on. Because say for instance, if you like the average dude or whatever, and you approach a lady, and the lady's you know, real fine, real beautiful, whatever, and you know, you say, hey, you know, I think you look good, you know, hey, you fine, hey, can I get your number? She would look at you and call you a creep, and then say that you're sexually harassing her. And then what would that do? That would ruin your whole life by her lying to you. So lying on you, and the society, how the society works, especially against black men, want to destroy us altogether. Now, we done seen the evidence of this court case with Ahmaud Arbery and the three victims and the three people that murdered him. What society wants to do with black men. But to go back to what I was saying again, men are not approaching women because we got targets on our back. You know, we get took for half our stuff if we marry the wrong woman. Then if we are not at the right status or meet the status quo of what women say that they want, then we're labeled as creeps or perverts. Or look at the incidents where some of the Hollywood stars was having sexual relations with young men that were underage. Nothing happened to them. But if it were where the roles were reversed, and if it was a Hollywood star messing with an underage girl, it would be a whole thing. They would be calling him a perv and all of that, and be trying to lock dude up. So it's just like men are waking up now. And even in church, you know, I've listened to a lot of preachers growing up. You know, I'm a preacher. My daddy's a preacher. My grandfather was a preacher. My great-grandfather was a preacher. All my uncles, a lot of my cousins. I come from a family of preachers. And in my family of preachers, we all have been taught that man is the head. God is the head of the man. Man is the head of the woman. And this is what we were taught in my family for generations. And this is the order of God. And some of us followed it, some of us didn't. And the ones that followed it have successful marriages where we've been married to our wives for a number of years and had successful children. The ones that didn't follow it end up having divorces, or they cheated on their wives, or, you know, something crazy happened in their relationships. And they've experienced where they had to do half because some of the incidents were their fault, and they did things to cause things to happen. Now, on the flip side of it, when I speak about women, I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about some. Now, a lot of y'all saying that there's no good men out here, and especially black men. The statistics show that 16% of the children born in the United States to black men, they're from Pookie and Ray Rays. They're the ones that's having all of the children. But the rest of the percentage, the 80 plus percent, fits in the category of men that are either married with children and families, or those that are not married without children. So the statistics show that 54% of black men are married and childless. And that was surveys and research done. You know, I can't remember the exact website where it came from, but I've heard this over and over and over again. And I am a researcher. I'm earning my doctorate, so research is my thing. So how is it that there are not enough men? But the problem is why a lot of men are not approaching women out of those 54% of I'm talking about black men that are married, that are unmarried and childless. They don't want to deal with women with attitudes. They don't want to deal with women that's trying to be competitive and overtalk them and all of these different things. They don't want to be treated unfairly. They don't even want to put themselves in a situation where things are unequal for them. That's going to make, they don't want to bring a woman in front of them that's going to embarrass them in front of their colleagues. This is why, some men are just settling for just having a girlfriend or something that is casual and not approaching marriage as God would say, and just taking it from there, which is not the right order. The Bible says that let every man have his own wife and every wife have his own husband. But if our women, black women, cannot come to the resolve and stop listening to feminist views and come and be with us black men as God had intended, that we get on our square, that we get on our moral compass, then you'll see why a lot of the black men are going to other races or cultures and not with black women. Why they're not approaching black women. And this is very controversial, and oh yes, I forgot. I come from a family of preachers, but a lot of us in that preach, we don't pander to women. Yes, even though there was a lot of women in the church, but we vowed that men are the head. And if men do not exhibit headship, then that's not the right order of God. Then the family is doomed to crumble if the man is not in headship. So, and then what does that lead? When there's no male headship, boys that are born into a family of a single mother trying to raise boys, if not guided by another man involved to help those young men to be men. In other words, what I'm saying is the single mother interfering with a man trying to teach her sons how to be men. Then you have these boys with these effeminate traits, or they respond by emotionalism like a female. And men, we should not respond to things as females. We should respond with logic. That's why God gave us a mind to think. Women are more emotional. Men should use logic to think their way out of a situation and look at the whole outcome. I hope that you all are getting what I'm saying. Men are not approaching women. The other reason why some men are approaching women, because there's a classification of men that fit the description of the LGBTQ plus community, that they, want to go that way. That's their business. But the ones that are heterosexual men that love women, there are some good women out there, and I'm not pandering. And when those are those good women that don't exhibit that masculine energy, that were taught right, that are domesticated, know how to take care of things at home, know how to cater to a man, know how to clean, know how to cook, have a humble, quiet spirit, and is an asset to their mate, that they call in the black female community, they call those sisters, they call them a pick me B, you know, B-I and the rest of it, or they call them pygmecious. Now, my wife, you know, who I've been married to 19 years, you know, my wife will be classified as a pygmecious because, you know, we got together. My wife was domestic. My wife knew how to clean up house. My wife knows how to cook, you know, do all of that. Take care of the children while I go out here and face the world and, you know, be on the grind. Other females would call my wife a pygmecious. But then at the same time, they be jealous and hating on her because, you know, how he get all this, and you know, I ain't got that. There's a lot of single women in the church. And the first thing why they keep on staying single, they listen to that feminism. They don't know how to do this. Shut up. Shut their mouth. This is the reason why God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And that means we should listen more than we speak. And because a lot of our women in the church have not gotten that right to learn how to be quiet and be taught by the older women. This is why the men are not approaching you, because you're combative. You want to overtalk them. You don't know when to submit and just take your role, be your role as a wife. If you read Titus, the 2nd chapter, that gives a description of what young men and young women should be in the case of a marriage relationship. But then it goes even further. Jesus told men specifically, he said, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it. Because even though we're logical beings, there's a part of us that we must love. We must love our rib, our wife, as we love ourselves. So in the words of Bishop Earl Carter, he said, if you got the right rib, there's no need for spare ribs. In other words, you don't need a side chick if you got the right wife. You know what I'm saying?